Shalom. Call Loyam La Yahweh. Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Bahashem Rakah Kodash. Double honor to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone who still rule and teach well. And peace and blessings and safety unto the Lord's elect, scattered throughout the four corners of the planet Earth, pushing this word in humility and sincerity, as commanded by Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And this video is going to be for you brothers that do the bare minimum. Okay, and I watched this video here on the screen. It says Jake be full of shit, man. It's from one of the elder brothers of my camp here in GMS Cleveland, the brother Ira Shah. So subscribe to this channel, GMS Cleveland Ira Shah, and be edified. This is an excellent video, and it really sets the tone of how Jake should be moving. When we say Jake, we talking about Jacob, you so-called 12 tribes of the nation, not so-called, but you 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, which is you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Seminole, Native American Indians of Negroid and Indian descent according to the seed of the Father, dealing with the men, the brothers that are in this truth and in this ministry. Because a lot of guys are trying to fly by under the radar, just going through the motions and doing the bare minimum, man. And that's not a diligent person, okay? That's not being fervent, okay? That's not acceptable in the eyes of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Now, ultimately, we aren't the judge. Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is the judge. But you're supposed to put forth your best effort, and the scriptures speak on this, okay? Now, what is a person, a bare minimum man? It says a bare minimum man is a partner who puts the least amount of effort into a relationship to keep it going without genuine investment. You have to give genuine investment in this truth. You have to invest time, energy, emotion, pain, suffering. All of that has to be put into this truth in order to get out salvation. All of that is putting your treasures in heaven and not your treasures upon earth. Okay, you're investing in spiritual things. You're investing in things that may not seem like you're going to get an immediate return. Okay, but that's where the faith comes in. It says, reading on in the definition, it says he shows this by being emotionally unavailable, avoiding deeper conversations. Right, we barely know certain individuals. We barely know you, brother. This truth is not a Saturday thing, where you're just Saturday at 1 p.m., you show up, and you go home, and, you might go to class once a week, but we never see you, we never hear from you. We don't have, like it says, intimate, deeper conversations with you, We're not saying that you have to have these, you ain't got to vent to us, but it's normal for an individual to, if he's going through something, to vent to brothers, or to just, let your hair down a little bit, so to speak, and speak candidly. It says he shows this by being emotionally unavailable, avoiding deeper conversations, only initiating contact or plans when convenient, and showing inconsistent affection. This lack of effort can be seen through actions like providing vague plans, avoiding emotional intimacy, or dismissing his partner's feelings. And in this case, we're not dealing with a relationship, but we are dealing with a relationship as far as the brotherhood. Okay, so you could equate these attributes or descriptions to the way that these bare minimum men in this truth move. Okay. This is not a Saturday thing, as I said, man. This is a lifestyle. When you come into this truth, the men that are around you have literally lost things. They have sacrificed things. They have, for the truth. Okay, they don't minimize the truth to hold on to these other worldly things. They minimize the worldly things to hold on to the truth of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. And so these men are tried and tested. Their faith have been pulled. What? Go on him. And so, when these men are giving you counsel, when these men are giving you advice about how to be in this truth in order to build up your endurance, you need to take heed, man. You need to take heed, because we're not saying this for nothing. The Lord is going to shape things in your life, and you have to be fortified in your mind in order to push forward, or else those things are going to take you out of this truth. We've seen it happen. Don't think that you're invincible to where you could do it your way and, it'll work out, because you're you, and you could do the bare minimum and still get by. And you could do the bare minimum and still be accepted, or still grow and still be fervent. That's an oxy. You can't be fervent and a bare minimalist. It says, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 6. It says, in the morning sow thy seed, and in the evening withhold not thine hand. For thou knowest not whether shall prosper, either this or that, or whether they both shall be alike good. So this is dealing with the effort that you're putting in when you're working in this truth, man. In the morning, meaning you're early, you're diligent, you're enthusiastic. It says, and in the evening withhold not thine hand. A good amount of effort. Okay. Matter of fact, what I did was I asked ChatGPT to expound on this verse, and I like what it said. It says, in the morning sow thy seed, and in the evening withhold not thine hand, for thou knowest not whether shall prosper, either this or that, or whether they both shall be good alike. It says, in the morning sow thy seed. This points to early and intentional effort. Morning represents the beginning, youth, opportunity, readiness. Don't delay. Obedience, labor, generosity, or wise action. And in the evening, withhold not thine hand. It says, keep working until the day is done. Evening suggests persistence, even when tired, uncertain, or latter in life. Faithful effort is not seasonal or mood-based. Do you understand that? Faithful effort is not seasonal or mood-based. Even the Lord, Apostle Peter said to be instant in season and out of season. Okay? The word instant means to be ready. It says it continues expounding on the verse. It says, for thou knowest not whether shall prosper. It says, this is a central theme of Ecclesiastes, human limitation. We do not know which efforts the Most High Yahweh will bless most. Since outcomes are uncertain, inactivity is foolish. You don't know which efforts that you give the Lord will bless the most. But you do know that the Lord is watching. You do know that the Lord is watching you when you put the brothers on the back burner for your cares and affairs of this life, for your entanglements in the world. It says in number 4, it says, this or that, whether both shall be alike good. It says, multiple faithful efforts may all bear fruit. The verse encourages diversified diligence, not just diligence on the street on Saturday. A diversified diligence through charity, through sincerity, through contribution, through teachings, through fellowshipping. It should be a diverse amount of diligence that's on your report, because every brother has a report. Okay? You want to have a good report in this truth. And the reports go all the way up in some instances. It says the verse encourages diversified diligence, not reckless striving, but consistent faithfulness in more than one righteous endeavor. Wow. So this truth is not a Saturday thing. It's not a one-trick pony thing. You have to excel. The men of the Lord were all well-rounded individuals, man. They excelled in many different categories. The knowledge of the breakdowns, the knowledge of the herbs, the knowledge of history, the knowledge of the understanding of the elements, many different things. Prophecy, charity, diligence. It says the key principles of this verse: diligence over paralysis. Act faithfully rather than waiting for certainty. Trust over control. The Most High governs results. Humans govern obedience. Consistency over intensity. Brothers had to be more consistent. Okay? More consistent. And even when you're like working out, the growth doesn't come unless you're consistent. That's when you see the results, when you're consistent. If you do it once a week, you're not going to see many results because it's once a week. Even if you do it twice a week, you're not going to see many results because it's only twice a week. It's got to be 3, 4, 5 times a week in order for you to see gradual progression and results. It says consistency over intensity, morning and evening, steady, not sporadic. So I want to exhort brothers to be more steady and less sporadic, because brothers do be full of shit, man. Brothers do be full of shit. And if you're down for this thing, it's going to show. Now let's get some precepts. Ecclesiastes chapter 9 verse 10. Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. That's more than making videos. It's more than Saturday camp. Okay? You're going to have to take time away from the woman. You're going to have to take time away from the kids. They can't save you anyway. They can't even give you the counsel that you need to get on a chariot. So whatever they got going on, gonna have to wait, because the brotherhood is more important. The brotherhood is a embodiment of Yahushua. Yahushua said, if you have done it unto one of these least my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Mom calling you. Ecclesiastes chapter 9 verse 10. Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest. So as long as we on the earth, we have to give our best effort, man. Not half-assing it. Not bare minimum, man. GMS is not a hands in the pocket camp. No, we're active. We're even that's in the letters of the Apostle Paul, I believe, to Timothy. He said, working with thy own hands. If any man ought not work, he ought not eat. This is a spiritual work, and we're being spiritually fed. Matthew 6 verse 19. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. So just like we're not stocking up on canned goods, and we're not putting our stock in that, and bottled waters and all of these different things, we're also not putting our time and our effort into, like I said, the entanglements of the world that are around us. The scriptures speak about how he that have little business shall become wise. It says, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Where your treasure is, that's where your mind is going to be. Where your treasure is, that's where your mind and your time is going to be spent. Whatever you value the most, that's what's going to dictate your life. That's what's going to dictate how you move in your life. And you got to come to terms with the fact that you're going to lose things. A lot of you young brothers, you haven't lost anything yet. And that should alert your spiritual senses that it's going to come. And as much as you try to hold on to things, some things the Lord's going to snatch from you. A lot of brothers, even when you was in the world, you had your first child and you wanted that relationship to work, but the woman was seemingly hell-bent on not being a family. Well, that's how the Lord's going to do certain things in your life, whether it be a job, whether it be a child, whether it be a woman, whether it be if you're a woman, a man. Some things the Lord's going to strip and snatch from you because you got such a tight grip on it that you're not keeping him first. It says in Matthew 6:21, because remember, our Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is a jealous God. It says, for where your heart is, there will, Salakia, for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. This is how we know. This is how we know where brothers' focus truly is. This is how we know that some brothers' focus is split. It says, let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. Brothers have to grow in the faith. There's still room for me to grow in the faith. There's still room for brothers under me to grow in the faith. And we're constantly supposed to be growing. So there's no ceiling or cap or limit to where you can say, well, I know I'm good now. I done put in enough time. I done did enough charity. I'm good now. No. You can never go far enough. 2 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 6. It says, but this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully. What you put in is what you're going to get out. Okay? The bare minimum is going to get you bare minimum wisdom. It's going to get you bare minimum fruits. It's going to get you bare minimum acknowledgement from the Lord, if any at all, because again, the Lord said, I would that ye be either cold or hot, not in the middle, not lukewarm. He said, but if you are lukewarm, then he will spew thee out of his mouth. You're either going to be cold for the truth, don't come around, don't do videos, don't do nothing, or you're going to be hot. You're going to be on fire. You're going to do your videos. You're going to be around. You're going when a brother needs something and you're available, you're going to jump to it. You're going to put forth genuine effort and not be a bare minimalist. It says, I'm going to read this again, 2 Corinthians 9 and 6. Just think about if you're sowing seed, if you have a garden. If you go out in that garden and you only plant 5 seeds, 2 of them might only grow. None of them might grow. But if you go out there and you plant 500 seeds, you're going to reap fruit. You're going to bear fruit. What you put in is what you get out. The Lord is not an unrighteous judge. The Lord is looking for diligence. In Hebrews, it says the same diligence of the men that taught us. And we know that the apostles are on fire, man. We know that the apostles are charitable, man. We know that the apostles, they put in the time. They put in the work. They set the example of fellowship and in charity. And in unity and brotherhood and the keeping of the holy days and these solemn feasts and these celebratory feasts. These are not, when you have a holy day, it's a holy day. It's not an ordinary day. So for you to treat it like it's regular, you need to check your spirit. It says in 2 Corinthians 9 and 6, but this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully. And like I said, if you treating this truth like it's normal, taking it for granted, you must examine yourself, man. If you're doing the bare minimum, if you want to do more, but you've only been able to do the bare minimum, pray to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua to give you the strength to do more, to be more involved, to be more focused, to be more rooted, to be more faithful. 2 Corinthians 13 and 5. Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Yahushua HaMashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates. If the Lord is in you, you're going to do the things necessary. You're going to examine yourself. You're going to set a standard, which is Yahushua, and you're going to compare yourself to that standard. Obviously, we're not going to be perfect as Yahushua, but we're striving to be like our Lord. You have to examine yourself. Let's go to the word examine. The word is pirazo, which means to test.
Strong's G 3985, pirazo. Pirazo.
Pirazo. It says to try whether a thing can be done. To attempt, endeavor. To try, make trial of, test of. For the purpose of asserting his qualities or what he thinks or how he will behave himself. You have to examine yourself and test yourself and look at how you're moving and say, damn, am I moving in the flesh or am I moving in the spirit? Am I being led by the flesh or am I being led by the spirit? Am I being faithful to the Lord, or am I allowing the things around me to minimize the ministry, to minimize what's required of me? How am I behaving myself? This is all what needs to be done in order to examine yourself, whether you be in the faith. Now it says prove your own selves. The word prove is to test, examine, scrutinize.
Strong's G 1381. Dakimadzo. Dakimadzo.
Dakimazo, and it says to test, examine, prove, scrutinize, to see whether a thing is genuine or not. Boom. You got to do that to yourself, because the Lord's going to do it to you. He's going to put things on you. But sometimes you got to sit there and you got to say, man, you know what? I'm going to do this. Even though I know I might catch hell on the latter end, I'm going to do this because this is for the Lord. And I'll take whatever come with it. And that's going to have to be your mindset in order to endure until the end, because you're going to be faced with death. So if quality time with the family is too much to sacrifice, what about death? How you going to look at death? You may shrink. So Lord, when this is edifying, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rachak Kodash. Double honor to the apostles, the elders, a great millstone who still rule and teach well. Kwam Yashral. Shalom.